Hello.
Hi.
I'm here today with my friend Oscar, and we're going to be talking about same-sex adoption and what comes with it and his journey. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for
So we're going to
having me.
just jump right into this. Tell me about you. Tell me where you're from. Tell me your age. Tell me your ethnic background. Tell me all about you.
Well, my name's Oscar Sanchez Camacho Waters.
Ooh.
Now that I'm married, I added my husband's last name.
Perfect. I did not. I'm just kidding.
And I grew up in Southern California in Chino, California.
Okay.
And I'm 40 years old.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love a 40-year-old.
So I just turned 40 this past December. Yeah.
Okay. How many siblings?
We grew up a total of 4, including myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you are?
I am the third one.
You're the
out of
third
the fourth.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Any sisters?
No, I'm the only one.
You grew up in a house of boys. You're the only sister. I just got that right now. You grew up in a house all boys?
Yeah, all boys.
I like that. So you're Mexican, right? Mexican.
Yes, Mexican. Okay. From what I've heard through the grapevine of our family, we are very mixed.
Very mixed? Really?
Yeah, somebody did like what is it?
The 23andMe or whatever?
Yeah,
Okay.
one of those things. And like it came up like Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italian, German, and
Damn, you're a mixed plate.
yeah. And God knows what else.
I love him. That's why you're so gorgeous. You're so
And I
gorgeous.
still haven't figured out my dad's side yet. so,
Really?
yeah.
That's fun. That's fun to do.
Yeah.
To do 23andMe. So your husband, what nationality is he? And how old is he?
He's black, and I believe that he's currently, I want to say 45, 46.
46. Okay, he's right. You like an older man, I see. That's okay. He's a cool guy. All right,
Awesome.
so we're gonna jump in with your story. So I had to educate myself a little bit more on this topic. Although I have friends that are same sex, I know they had a difficult time adopting, fostering, and you've always stood out in my head. I've always loved you. I've loved your vibe, and I met you years ago through my sister-in-law, and you've never left my mind. I've always had this thing about you, and I think what it was meeting your boys. At that time, I think they were just your foster boys, I think. We were at a family gathering, and I was like in awe with you. What brought you to fostering or to the idea of, helping children, actually?
Having our own kids too.
Yeah.
It's
Tell me about the boys.
It's mind blowing. Oh, our sons, they're amazing.
Yeah.
18 now and 16.
Okay.
So they are taller than both of us. So that's kind of it's.
What started this feeling in you to help?
It's just this connection of wanting to start our own family. We did a lot of investigating to how to have our own kids. And it was, a lot did go into it because we were looking into surrogacy. We were looking into even potentially having certain relatives caring for us or certain friends. But when it came to the nitty gritty, we were we were seeing our age range, and we're like, so if we were to do newborns, how old?
You're doing a calculation.
Yeah,
you don't want to be 80 walking on the field for graduation.
Yes. So you put that all into, you start thinking of all these things of what is going to happen down the line and at what age, what's going to happen, and how old do I want to be when they graduate, or if they get married or go to college. Which they better go to college. But you put everything into perspective of, I mean, kind of like planning your life.
Yeah.
But it's just
A
kind
lot of money. Let's not leave the money, financial part with surrogacy,
God, yes.
and the connection you have to make with that too. You would have this person in your life for 9 months, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I would be
No, yeah.
scared to do that. Like,
So we were very apprehensive with that portion,
Okay.
just because his side of the family, my side of the family, we were just like, is it a good idea? Especially our age range was the biggest factor that
okay,
kind of like,
it was the biggest factor.
yeah,
Okay.
that kind of was in like in
Which is a
this.
good thing to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, you know what? Like, well, what if we end up doing like kind of an adoption situation, and then we're looking at the costs
To adopt like out of country.
out of country, within our country.
So let's educate some people about that.
Yes.
Because people think you can just, I want to adopt those babies right there, them that my color skin, or I want an Asian baby. Tell them how difficult, because I heard also
It
that it's
is-
very difficult to adopt children.
Yes.
Furthermore, in this country, in another country. And
Yes.
you can't just go to an orphanage in Mexico and get some babies. No.
Especially for same-sex couples.
Okay.
It was super difficult because of the laws during the
Yes.
time that we were doing all of this. Only one of us were able to be on the birth certificate, but only one of us was going to be recognized as the parent legally.
If you wanted to adopt, straight out adopt.
Yeah, or even for surrogacy.
Jeez.
So
And how fair, that pisses me off.
yeah.
It makes me angry.
No, it really did. Like
Yeah.
it just seems so unfair with certain laws and how they were. So literally, we were thinking into certain states that same-sex couples was legalized.
Because I just read that this morning
Yes.
that same sex can adopt.
Yeah, so 2 years before that, we started the process, and that's when we were with our oldest son.
Okay.
And that's what kind of opened up our eyes in just seeing how the whole process was
Okay.
during that time. Now it's a lot easier. You could adopt, and both of you guys are going to be recognized. One thing that we're like finding out was if we were to do it in California, only one of us during that time. Before 2017 could only be on the documentation.
Did you have to pay to adopt them?
You know what? In the state of Nevada, it's actually free. You literally have to contact whichever adoption agency or the Department of Family Services,
Okay.
even if they're not on a roster, because they do have pictures of the kids in like a biography, and sometimes we've seen like certain like situations where they're not even on there.
Really?
Yeah, and
Why?
And it's thousands, like hundreds,
God.
like it's not.
So you went through the agency or through?
We did go through an agency,
okay.
and we're very fortunate because also, I think during the time, like we were the only ones from what I was aware of,
Okay.
because there were certain agencies that didn't take same-sex couples because of the religion, what have you, or the type of practices that
Religion
they
as well?
believed. Oh yes, because a lot of the agencies are owned
Catholic
with
Christian?
with a religious background.
Oh.
Yeah. So a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, it's just like you kind of like see we just started making phone calls and to see who was going to be able to accept us.
Okay.
And luckily we found that one.
Really?
And ever since it just.
So prior to this, where were your
Yeah.
boys at? Prior to you, at what ages did you get them? Did you get them the same time?
So no, we knew one of our oldest. We had him since he was 6, and or wait, no, not 6, 8. Sorry,
okay.
I went way back. And with one of our second oldest, Donald, we knew of his case since he was around like 6 or 7.
Okay.
But he didn't come to us until he was like 10.
Really?
Yeah.
So were they in foster care prior to that?
Yes.
Both of them?
Yeah, both
Okay.
of them. Well, we had Alex's, Alex came to us when he was 8. And then once when we did the whole like adoption in 2017, like a few months right after, that's when we got Donald.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you had to make sure also that they were meshing well because they didn't know each other, right?
Yes, they didn't know each other.
Okay, so when you took the second boy in, you had to make sure it worked as a family. Why was it those 2 boys? Why did you just decide like these are the 2 boys that I want in my house, and why not 2 girls? Ugh, girls. Why not 2 girls? Lucky for you. So what made them be the ones, the lucky ones? You know, as we call it, like you know, if you're you can be in the states. You can be a part of the state, owned by the state, till you're 18.
Yeah.
So what made those boys the lucky ones that you wanted?
It's, you instantly feel like this connection, like there are you.
Dang, I don't feel that with my own kids. Just kidding. You did not mind.
There is just this instant connection, like with both of them.
Really?
With Alex especially, like I just saw a lot of like my traits with him, and then a lot of my husband's traits, and it was just also cool to kind of see like when we would go out like back home, like when we would go to like theme parks or something, go ask your dad, like, you know, so they like instantly like knew.
Okay, because he looks like you actually. He does, and it's crazy, yeah. And then the other one looks like your husband. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
So how, okay, so let's put it in now let's look at how the kids feel. Okay, so as the kids got older, I'm assuming, when they're little, they don't really know yet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my dad's, you know, I'm pretty sure, but they don't really think about it or ask you. At what age did they start asking you questions, like, or do they get embarrassed?
You know what? That's something very shocking to us, because at first that was my biggest fear.
Oh, it was?
Like,
okay.
because I don't know, just kind of old school style, like
oh my God, they're gonna go to school and people are gonna be like, your dads are gay, and
and then
I
get
can
the
see
backlash, because
that.
I saw it, like, you know, with my family when I came out, like my brothers got a lot of the backlash, and just I didn't want that for our sons. And as life was going on, like a lot of the kids were just like, oh yeah, like, you know, that's cool, like, you know, can we meet them? And from there we started like meeting their friends like every now and then, and they sometimes like have get-togethers at the house.
Really? I know you have a lot of you have a lot of kids over there, right?
Yeah.
So they're not intimidated, they're not embarrassed, they're not, they just appreciate it. Do they ever say thank you for do they remember like their childhood, like prior to you? Okay.
They do see like the difference, and they're very, because also seeing like how they grew up, like, or how they're growing up, like as their own person. You see like that switch, like this is us. This is me with my family, my parents, my dads. And it's beautiful.
It makes me even teary-eyed, because the effect that you have made in their life. I've watched your story. I watched your story, and then I watched them when they were little, and then how you've saved a life, like lives. So I want people to know that the discrimination that you have to face, and many more people have to face. Like, it's really not fair, because you have, yes, they are same sex, but what makes anybody right to judge you to who you can adopt, who you can save? there's thousands of kids, you said, out here that have no place to go, no family, and nobody to love them. And you've saved these two and many more. Yeah. Do you want to share that what you do on the other side of that too? That you're what are you, shelter, foster, or?
We are.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Get it together. No,
get it together, Bridget.
Get it together. No, yeah, we are foster parents.
On top of that, guys.
On top, yeah, of still parenting our sons. We still do our full-time jobs. Makeup artist. On top of that, we just did a CPR business, a clothing business. My husband's doing still his realty, like in California. And
so you're entrepreneurs on top of the fostering, on top of the already adopted two boys. And so you are just the power couple.
But also the pandemic, like, opened up our eyes big time.
Yeah.
It was a wake-up call.
Oh yeah, I think to a lot of people, it was, and I can't imagine. Wait, so during the pandemic, did you get foster kids at that time too?
Oh yeah, we were. Oh yes, we did.
Oh my gosh, people were giving away their children during the pandemic. What? Really?
Yeah.
So shelter and foster is two different things. You want to explain what that is too for the viewers, like what's the difference between a shelter and a foster?
You could do certain classes to open up your home.
Okay.
To be a safe haven for other youth. And not only that, giving them the stability, because a lot of kids, they don't have the structure or stability.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that we try to help and incorporate with like every single kiddo, even including like our kiddos. Like there's always structure that's always needed.
Yes.
Because sometimes like our minds are just still developing, and even as adults.
Yeah. So shelter, they come in at any time of the day, right? You have to be available.
Well, in our situation, it's just like whatever we have available or open for our license.
Okay.
So for the amount that you have in, like, they consider the size of your home, how much square footage, or how many beds.
How many beds
are able to have.
Okay.
And what you're willing to
take
in as well.
Okay.
And from there, sometimes they start off like as one, and then they move up little by little. But depending on like what.
Okay, and you have an age bracket that you can
choose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what do you think, if you could tell anybody any advice that's looking to adopt children, foster children, become a shelter, what advice would you be the most important things that you would be able to give them?
I will say you do have to have a strong mindset to do this. The first 2 to 3 years when I started doing this, I was an emotional wreck because I did not want to give them back. That was because you feel like there's like a piece of you just being torn like out. But if you are willing to have a strong mindset and be able to also prepare your partner, your spouse, to go through this journey, because there will be a lot of turbulations going through just helping their emotional states, just whatever situation that they're going through, just letting them know like you are there to help. And sometimes there's going to be situations where, it may be a little bit more than what you can handle, and that's okay. You just have to make sure you have your support system to really help you and engage in how to handle each certain case, if that makes sense.
And every child is different, huh?
Yes.
Every child is different. Every child comes with trauma, and then our own traumas get triggered by some, Have you realized that
Absolutely.
when you see children come in with this trauma, you're like, that triggers my trauma too. So
Yeah.
I need some professional help. Yeah. Bobby brought in some.
Where can I fit this in my schedule? 'Cause we will make it happen.
Yeah.
No,
So
yeah.
how do you? Okay, so what is one? This is the question I want to kind of ask you too. Like, what has broken your spirit, or has there been a time that something has happened, or somebody has said to you that has broken your spirit in the whole thing about same-sex adoption, or like, you know how people are so cruel in this world and they say some crazy shit? Has that broken your spirit where you're maybe like, oh no, maybe I shouldn't do this. This is just too much for me.
We have come across a lot of those situations,
Really?
but it lights literally a fire in me.
Ah,
To
yes,
prove-
baby.
And it's something that I've always, as a kid, I've always liked to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
give them a different perspective of my husband and I. Like, when somebody had like told us no on many occasions, we'll find a way to how to make it work for us.
Good.
Because if we didn't have that balance or the support from each other, I think
You have to be a balanced
a
team.
team.
You have to, yeah. All right. Okay,
Yeah.
good to know that
Yeah.
you powered through that. It's feeding you. For all you people that are no sayers, it's feeding him.
Oh yeah. Oh, and you know what? It will happen. Even like if it's not even like a situation like that. Like if it's even like in a job or like in your everyday life,
Yeah.
it just lights a fire in me just to
Yeah.
kind of like prove them wrong, and just knowing too who you really are.
Yeah, you have to know who you are.
Because
Yes.
that, if you let that defeat you and you are not still okay with
Who you are.
who you are, it will break you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap up with this last thing. When your boys watch this, your two baby boys,
Yes.
what would you want to say to them when they're watching this and you want to tell them how much you love them?
Right.
What would you want to say to them in this journey that you have made for you and your husband and them?
That they're okay. They're going to make mistakes. We grow from those mistakes. We defy who we want to be from right or wrong. Even if there's some wrong, it's okay to accept that wrong and learn and grow and learn how to adapt and move forward and not stay stuck or stagnant in whatever you're going through. Life is going to be okay. We got to move forward.
Yeah.
Even with devastating situations that we may come across, that's how life goes.
Yeah.
You are meant to, just, I don't even know where to go from here anymore. Because I just think like painting them like a good, stable environment. I just hope they're able to
Become
grab-
amazing adults.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and
Yeah.
you've done that. And you're helping tons of children. And if anybody wants to tell you thank you, I want to tell you thank you. And I praise you and your husband. And I wish there was more people like you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you.